We are currently living in a trust recession, and you've probably heard me say this on more than one occasion, and I'm sure you're feeling it because it's really hard to believe anything we see or hear, especially in this day and age with all the AI slop. So today, I jam with Michael R. Hunter, the founder of personalbrand.com, where we unpack all this and more. Make sure to stay with us long enough to hear Michael when he shares a moment in his life that literally brought him to his knees and what happened next that completely changed everything in his life, in his business. So I hope you find this convo with Michael R. Hunter as intriguing as I did. Enjoy. Michael R. Hunter, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks very much for having me, Eric. Excited to shed some light and some insight in this trust recession era. How do you navigate it? How do you win? How do you survive? How do you come out on top? So excited to jump into all these different things.
Yeah, for sure. I loved your story. I want to share that because the intention behind it wasn't necessarily what everyone would think. Like you had the foresight before that term took off. But it wasn't necessarily your business at the time.
Right.
Let's start there, brother. Let's start with that because that's a fun story, fun ride.
Yeah, I mean, it goes all the way back to getting started in entrepreneurship at the age of 17 in direct sales, commission-only direct sales, and had some early success, got qualified to my first regional sales conference, personal development experience, and got introduced to books and speakers that changed the trajectory of my life. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And at that conference, I heard that being a public speaker was the highest paid profession, and most people would rather die than speak in front of an audience. And in my little 17-year-old brain, like alarm bells went off and I just heard opportunity. Like, wait, like this is a way that you can get paid and most people don't want to do it. So all I have to do is figure that out. And then shortly after that, I got introduced to Tony Robbins' work. I got to see the massive impact he got to have in the world and changing people's lives and inspiring people and motivating people. And I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. But I'm 17. I don't know anything about anything. I don't have a message to share. I'm afraid of speaking in front of an audience. So how do I just knew it was something I wanted to do someday. And whether it took 5 years or 50 years, I wanted to figure it out. And so throughout college, to condense timelines and make a long story short, I kept feeling the calling. And I realized that I had the sales skill set down adequately enough. I still don't think I'm very good at it today, but I needed to learn this thing called marketing if I wanted to do that someday. And so I had the awareness of I'm going to have other people pay me to learn how to do marketing for them. And so I quickly networked my way into authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders, and personal brands in 2010. And got paid to help other people get their message out to the world. And it was 2013 where I really knew that this is what I want to dedicate my life to. And so I bought the domain name personalbrand.com in 2013. I saw the trend. I saw the trajectory, transparently. And honestly, I was listening to Gary Vee back there and he was, saying, hey, personal brands are the future. And so I was like, yep, I see what he sees. And I bought the domain name personalbrand.com because I knew that this is what I wanted to dedicate my life to.
Yeah. And what was the business that you were operating at the time?
So I had a marketing agency. It was under a different name, but we were implementing marketing campaigns, doing marketing automation, websites, ads for authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders. And
Gotcha.
So it wasn't really until 2018 that we actually pulled the name of our business under the personalbrand.com moniker. And then we actually ended up winding down personalbrand.com, which is an interesting story, with our software company, Spiffy Checkouts coming up. That started as a side hustle on the side of our marketing agency. We were doing big 7- and 8-figure campaigns for 7- and 8-figure companies, 7-figure product launches where we were generating 7 figures in a week for big name authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders. And how we got outsized results for our clients was focusing on an area of the business that a lot of people don't realize how big of an impact it can have, which is conversion optimization at the point of sale. And so we were doing mobile optimized and conversion optimized checkout experiences with logic-based one post-purchase upsells and downsells. So how they interacted with the checkout determined what offer they saw after the purchase. And I turned to my business partner, Jeremy, at the time. I was like, I think there's a software play here. And so we turned our productized service and the code that we were implementing as a service for our clients into a software product that is now Spiffy Checkouts. And just 18 months ago, we crossed $1 billion worth of payment volume through our platform. So that's our customers having success on our platform. And so what started as a little side hustle software idea turned into our main business. And then about 2 years ago, didn't have to do it, but had to do it from like a mission, soul, calling, purpose. We started bringing personalbrand.com back to the forefront and started working with change makers, world changers, people that have a message that they want to share with the world and helping them get that message out there in a big, big way. Yeah,
I love that. And I want to kind of peel the layers back, at least go in a somewhat linear fashion. When you and I were chatting last time, it was pretty cool to hear you tell me what was happening at the time when personal branding was starting to explode in 2021, 2022. Wasn't your main focus, but you're like, okay, I got to build some planes while we're flying them. Yeah. Can you take us back and tell me that story again so the audience gets to enjoy that?
Yeah. I mean, we started Spiffy as a side hustle in our agency in 2015. And in 2019, December, it's how we bootstrapped. We bootstrapped a fintech company to an 8-figure valuation, which is like very, very rare. But how we did it is through our client services. And so we got paid. How I look at it retrospectively and how I advise other people is you have to get paid to learn. There's only 2 types of entrepreneurs out there in the world: people that are waiting to get started and people that are getting paid to learn. And so it was through our agency services, which, especially if you're trying to build a big company with enterprise value, an agency is not going to generate big enterprise value, but it's a way where you can build relationships, get paid to build relationships, get paid to know the existing tools, get paid to network into the existing communities and players and see where all the gaps are. And that's exactly what we did with Spiffy. And so, fast forward, Spiffy started to get a lot of traction. We run payments for a lot of the big names in the industry. December 2019, me and my business partner did a post-mortem, kind of looking back at the year, and we kind of like broke even on the agency with like all the headaches and stress and overwhelm and logistics. And Spiffy was taking off, and we wanted to build Spiffy to sell it one day. And so we just decided that we were going to wind down the agency and focus 100% on the scalable enterprise value, just like take a run for an 8-figure exit. And so January 2020, we start transitioning our team, getting people jobs at past clients, and all of our team members were rock stars. So it was really easy to do. But January, February, we're transitioning team. And then March 2020, we all know what happens. Lockdowns happen. We didn't really think anything of it. We're focused on Spiffy. We're making moves, trying to capitalize on the attention coming online through Spiffy, because in Spiffy, our ideal client is authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders, personal brands, service providers, freelancers, agencies, software companies. And then it was like July, August, I look at the analytics and look back, and our blog on personalbrand.com that previously was only getting 3,000 or 4,000 hits a month was getting 60,000 to 70,000 hits a month. And it was just this massive wave of traffic and attention. But it was always like 2 weeks to slow the spread, 2 weeks more. And we just didn't pivot fast enough to capitalize on it. And so talk about missing a massive opportunity and the weight of that, and owning, personalbrand.com. Like there's an 8-figure business there, and feeling like you did all of the hard work and made a very logical, rational decision based off the information that you had at the time, and having to sit with the weight of that decision, missing a giant wave. And so, Spiffy's, quite successful. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, building an agency is not a really scalable business model. It doesn't have a lot of enterprise value. And so to make that decision to go from software company, founder, recurring revenue, passive income, more or less, to starting personalbrand.com as an agency, like it was not a logical business decision. And I had to really get out of my own way to really tap into why I got started in this industry, my mission, my calling, my purpose, like how I can best serve the 2 decades of experience that I have as an entrepreneur to help people that are getting started for me, my deepest calling is to help spark and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. And right now, I just happen to do that through personalbrand.com and Spiffy. And 10 years from now, my mission and my calling will be the same, but it's going to look very different. And so the faster you can get down to that core desire and that core passion that you have, the easier it is to make decisions based off of what's in alignment.
I'm envisioning, like I'm a visual scenario guy where I'm imagining you bought all this beachfront property, you got all these hotels, and you're like, okay, well, we're going to set this over here. We're going to make this amazing experience in business. And then you're like, well, wait, let's go build some AVs, EVs. Let's go, let's go build a factory of Teslas. And then meanwhile, all of a sudden, everybody's hitting the shore. You're like, wait a minute, we're over here. We built this amazing thing. But yeah, that is wild that you had that. Did it come as an opportunity and people offer to buy personalbranding.com, or like, did you think about selling the domain? And you're like, hey, we're focused over here at Spiffy. Somebody else can take this for $100K or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very real possibility. I know all the people that could write the check for $100,000, right? And that was the part of the weight of that decision. It's like, do I just sell it? Do I keep it? Am I the one to bring personalbrand.com to its fullest potential? And so there was a lot of my own healing journey that I had to go through. There's a lot of shifting how I operate in the business world. Back in the day, I used to carry all of the weight of our team's struggles and challenges, our clients, our customers, just like, I can carry it. Yeah, sure. I got it. To the point where it broke me. And today I'm carrying 10 times the amount of responsibility, of tasks, of to-dos. I have more unanswered texts on my phone, unanswered emails in my inbox than I ever have. I've broke under a tenth of the responsibility that I have today. And so it's not about the weight that you're carrying, it's how you carry it. And when you understand that it's not yours to carry, and the only thing that you can do is be fully present, fully in service, and adapt and constantly reprioritize to the next most logical step, the next most important thing, and be okay with some lower priority things falling through the cracks. That is how you navigate to reach your fullest potential. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I used to not let any ball drop, and you can't let every ball not drop and be on the path to having the biggest impact that you want to have.
Yeah. I love it, dude. It's funny because as I'm listening to you and you're saying a lot of hallmarks, in our values and our Christian values, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be that dude where like everything points towards, I'm always talking about my faith. Everybody who knows me well, even people who don't, I don't hide it. And it's like almost like Rogan. As soon as you listen to Rogan, you're like, oh, here he goes. He's going to start talking about MMA, oh, he's going to talk about hunting. But I mean, you did bring up a good point, where it's like, just, it's not my burden, like, what is that? That's giving it up to the Lord, right? And it's like trusting in his divine process. It's like when that happened, and I know you're a believer as I am, it's like, man, life changes after that, because like you said, prior to that, for me, I was like taking all of it on, dude, to the point where it's like mentally I needed to check in like into a hospital, because it was like, because you think it's all on you. It's all your fault. It's all your responsibility. You got staff. Not only do you have, think about that, dude, the pressures that we have as business owners is like, you got staff, you got people that rely on you, their families, you have never even met their kids or their grandkids. And meanwhile, you're providing for those folks. And then there's that, but your own family, can't even think about it. And your clients and their clients' family. Yeah. So it's a lot, man. And it's as soon as you realize someone can take this, and it's like, oh man, what an answer, what a solution, what a prayer to be answered, Yeah.
And I think what I've found is that oftentimes we don't have these conversations with people that are already believers. But through the work that we do at personalbrand.com and sort of ways turning it into our ministry of just like people wearing a cross. Like most people would not have a faith-based conversation with that person and think, oh, they're already on our team. But what I found is that that's where like the biggest unlock is, because we cognitively and logically know these things, but energetically, are we operating from that? And so I'm kind of, I think it was, forgive me if I misquote this. I think it's like a St. Augustine or St. Francis, one of those two. I preach everywhere I go, and sometimes I use words. So much of being a faith-based entrepreneur isn't necessarily about having a Bible verse on your product or having in your core values, but just like, how are you resonating? How are you showing up in service every single day? How are you leading yourself? How are you setting the example just by the way you're being? And making people inquisitive, making people want to follow you, versus trying to convince them logically. We know that as humans, we're emotional beings. We make emotional decisions and we back it up by logic. I am a very logical person. For the longest time, hearing that we buy based off our emotions, like, didn't resonate with me. It took me a long time to realize, like, oh, dang. Yeah, I do that. So I don't care how logical you are an emotional creature, backing your emotional decisions based on logic. And we have to recognize that when we're wanting to lead people, we have to resonate with them on an emotional level first. And that doesn't necessarily mean having the right words to say or the right Bible verse for the right, moment in time necessarily, but just by like living the values and being a good person and not even speaking a word other than how you show up.
I love that. Dude, what's your testimony, man? Were you a cradle Christian, or did it come later in life?
Oh man, we could do a whole podcast on this. The short version of it is, I grew up in a family. My dad grew up Mormon. He went on his mission and came back and was like, I'm done with this. My dad was very adamant that me and my brother did not get baptized. My mom was a cradle Catholic. I grew up going to Catholic church with my mom, and I lived my life where I never had issues with alcohol or drugs or any vice other than attention from women or attention from a woman. And so God got my attention the only way he knew how, and literally put me on my knees in complete surrender in a moment where my marriage was falling apart. And I sacrificed myself. I tried to adapt and discount who I am as a person to earn the love of my now ex-wife and her family. And at the end of the day, no matter how much I tried to earn her love or their love, I wasn't good enough. And at the end of the day, I was stuck looking at myself in the mirror, not recognizing who I was looking at back at me. And I was discarded as if I was worthless. And so I spent all this time, all this energy, all this overthinking, trying to be somebody that those people would love. And it wasn't good enough. And so I just, moment of surrender, literally the first time I ever voluntarily, of my own will, prayed on my knees, dropped to my knees. And I was just like, God, you know what's best for me better than I know what's best for me. Please make your will so obvious in the physical realm, it can't be denied. And 45 minutes later, got knock on the door, handed divorce papers.
No.
And no conversation, no counseling. There's like a 2 weeks of separation time. And I was extending olive branches saying, hey, this isn't what I want. Let's go to counseling. Let's figure this out. And so that's a very short version of my testimony of when you fully surrender, not partially, but when you fully, energetically, from the bottom of your soul surrender, and you ask for God to reveal your path, your purpose, so obvious in the physical realm, it cannot be denied. With powerful prayer and powerful language like that, God will answer those prayers.
I love that, dude. Thank you, man. Thanks for sharing that. Did you come to the realization that your prayer was answered 45 minutes later, like right away, or did it take years of reflection and prayer for you to recognize, oh, wait a minute, that's what happened?
I mean, so I'm so grateful of my entire entrepreneurial experience because I got introduced to personal development at 17. I've put my butt in a personal development seminar room every 6 weeks for my entire life. I'm constantly like aware of my surroundings. I've always felt a personal relationship with God. I had my own church hurt and things I had to, get over my journey. But in that moment, I was very aware that everything was conspiring for me. It made no sense to me logically. And I still had to navigate the emotional hurt from it all. And so that was something new for me because in business, objective strategy tactics doesn't work. New strategy doesn't work. New tactic doesn't work. Shift the objective. It's like problem solving. But when something isn't rational and no amount of thinking can solve it, it plunged me into a period of deep reflection that allowed me to do some work and run into the pain and some suffering that I wouldn't have been able to experience any other way. And so again, this is how God got my attention, and I was able to alchemize a lot of that hurt and pain and frustration to become a better person, to become a better leader, and to show up completely differently in my marriage with my now wife, Natalie, who works in the business with us, and being able to be on the same page, building the same business, someone who supports my mission and my purpose, my impact, and us working side by side with our other business partner, Jonathan and Jeremy. Like it's so powerful to have that synergy, to be on mission, on purpose with your spouse, building something together. And so again, I couldn't have architected a more beautiful life than I have now. And when you surrender to something greater than yourself, things that are greater than you could ever imagine are possible.
Yeah. Complete surrender. Obedience too. Like those were foreign to me. I'm like, I was coming from the Mel Robbins era of entrepreneurship, where it's like, whatever the name of her book is now that everybody's chewing up. Was it Let Them or something like that?
Let Them,
Yeah. And it's all about you, and it's all about your ego, and it's about the story is you. You're the center of your universe. And my biggest challenge with that is like, there's only so much of you. And at some point you're going to hit a dark spot like you did, like I did, where that's where he typically finds us when we're alone and we're suffering and we're in pain. And then he speaks the loudest, right? When that happens, thankfully. But what happens when when you are your own God? You're going to come to your own rescue in those moments? I think not, bro. Like, good luck with that. What do you think about this whole era of, self-worship?
I think, as we were talking about before, like this trust recession, the trust recession is a real thing. And it's because the blind are leading the blind. We're in the aftermath of 2020, where a lot of people got burned from people who just like magically had 25K offers, and people bought that offer and didn't really get enough value, but it wasn't a complete scam. But then they're like, oh, like I paid $25,000 and like I got some value from it. Like I can do that. And so now you have this like ripple effect of all these people that have 25K offers. I'm a coach for 25K, and it just perpetuated out. And now the market is just like, I don't trust anyone out there. Right. And so, ultimately trust is at an all-time low, which means that the people that actually have substance, this is your time to paddle out to catch the next wave. There's a lot of false spirituality out there. There's a lot of people calling on spirits and going to, obviously there's a lot of attention on plant-based medicines, ceremonies. None of those things are inherently bad necessarily, but how they're being used is not of the highest. And so, you have to be extremely careful with those types of things. And ultimately, again, I don't want to open up like a whole hour-long conversation, but if you're here to have the biggest impact possible, you cannot do it based off of your own will or your own energy. And the easiest, most powerful, fastest, most efficient way is to have God work through you, not think that you are God. And without this turning into a big sermon, when you accept spiritual warfare is a thing on this planet, with the recent disclosures of things that are happening, it's becoming more of a commonly accepted thing. But people have been saying this for decades, and they've been shunned and they've been outcast. And so when you understand that there's something bigger than us at play here, it starts to make it easier to understand that we are not the center of the universe. We are not God ourselves. God lives in us. God can work through us, but we are vessels of either evil or good. And you get to decide based on your free will, which team you're on. And this is where discernment and prayer and being still and recognizing what is yours and what is not yours are keys to unlocking your highest potential, your path to bettering yourself, having the impact, through your business, through your services. One of the things that I love the most is helping people realize that worship isn't just something reserved to a specific day of the week at a specific time at a specific place. That you in your business, if it is your true mission, calling, and purpose, or even just how you show up in that business, can actually be your ministry. And really ensuring that every breath that you take, every step that you walk is done out of service, out of alignment, and that every single day can be an act of worship, serving your clients, serving your customers, and being here to impact your family, your team, your community, and the world, if you so choose.
Yeah. No, well put, brother. For sure. And then you and I know and work with a lot of people that get that. And everyone's on their own path. They create a business for the sole purpose of generating wealth, which was my initial goal. And still is to a degree, right? We want to be able to provide for our families, hopefully pass something on to the next generation. Man, what a blessing it is to even be able to have that as an option, in this day and age, given that everything's changing rapidly. And I keep bringing this up, but I'll bring it up here just for the sake of conversation, that the Harvard study put out. Shared the change of rate in which technology innovation that we're accustomed to over the past 10 years, even just 1 year of change and innovation, is going to be, when my kids are 60, they're about 12 years old now, the oldest. So let's say 50 years from now, that change of rate that we are accustomed to that happens in 12 months will happen in 11 days. I'm like, that is bananas, dude. Can you even imagine? Like, you wake up, like, I can't even keep up on the latest updates to GPT or Grok or the next thing or the new foldable iPhone that's coming out. Well, that's old. They should have done that a long time ago. But it's like, can you imagine waking up to it and it's like, oh yeah, you can transport yourself now to, anywhere on the globe, or you can replicate 123 degree cup of coffee like it's Star Trek. And all these things just keep happening. 11 days, new innovation, new. How did you, it's like, I can't keep up with this.
Yeah. I mean, we as humans cannot comprehend exponential timelines, and we have exponential innovation on an exponential timeline. And so it's like this double exponential curve, and probably a triple exponential curve. Like these things are happening way faster than we can actually even comprehend. And so this is why it's so important to get clear on what your personal definition of success is. Not what society says is successful, not what you see on Instagram. Everything that you see on social media is fake anyways. And so you just can't get wrapped up in comparison. You have to do the deep introspective work of like, what is success to you? Make it personal. And architect your business and your life so that success is achievable, and what you value and what you desire isn't just waiting for you at some artificial deadline or milestone of a revenue number or an exit or money in your bank account, but architecting a business and a life where you get to experience what you desire and you get to experience what you value most on the way to achieving your higher, bigger picture goals. And going back to, building a business to leave something for your children and creating generational wealth, so many people don't understand how to actually do that. They think that I need to have a lump sum of cash in the bank that I then give to my children. And you can actually create generational wealth with a lot less money than most people think of. You just have to leverage compound interest, like literally structuring it correctly so that you can't touch it. You throw $100,000 into a trust that you can't touch once it's in there, and you just let that compound for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, you created an immense amount of wealth for your lineage who you will never, ever meet. And so again, most people are trying to hustle and grit and grind and sacrifice time with their family, sacrifice themselves, sacrifice their values, trying to get $5 or $10 million in the bank. And at the end of their life, they don't have $5 or $10 million in the bank, and they don't have anything to leave to their family. When if they just operated from a place of being centered, of doing right by people, of living below their means, and setting aside $100,000 in the right structure that could benefit their family for generations to come, you live a beautiful life, you achieve your objective, and you get to experience life in its fullest. And so oftentimes we're trying to implement strategies that we see other people emulating when they're at chapter 23 and we're at chapter 3. And this is where I see, and where we advise a lot of our personal brand clients, the right strategy, a great strategy, a strategy that works at the wrong time is still a bad strategy. And so much of life is defining your personal definition of success. And then the biggest missing piece is getting extremely and brutally honest about where you're at. This is how you develop strategy. This is how you develop a path. GPS in your phone, it needs 2 data points, where you're going and where you're at. Without extreme clarity on those 2 things, you cannot get to where you want to go. So if all you're doing is focusing on vision, mission, goals and things in the future and trying to develop strategies to get there, you're missing the critical data point of where you're at so that you know your next logical best step. And so that is the recipe to creating a good life and hitting the milestones you want to hit, leaving something for your family, experiencing life, architecting a business and a life that allows you to experience what you value and what you desire on the path to hitting your bigger picture goals. These are the types of strategies and concepts that we instill with our clients in our workshops.
That's good, man. That's powerful. I'm glad you're doing that type of work, man. More and more of that is needed for sure in this world. You mentioned chapter 3 versus chapter 23. Let's say in a book of 30 chapters, what's your chapter 23, 24, 25 look like in those seasons of your life in the future?
Oh, man. I mean, my definition of success, actually, I'm in Genius Network. It's a network of 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs. And I recently just had like a breakthrough redefining my definition of wealth. And there's a lot of people out there that like have, in my opinion, pretty cheesy, like revamps on wealth. Like your wealth is your health and your wealth is your relationships and all these things. And like all those things are true. Yes. But wealth, the definition of the word wealth is something that is squarely in the financial box. And yes, if you don't have your health, that's the only thing you care about. All the money in the world can't save you. Health is extremely important. But in my mind, the thing that enables the health and the relationships and everything is having the financial freedom to enjoy those things. And so my definition of wealth is having more money than you need, the time to enjoy it with the people that you love most. And so within that simple definition, it's like having more money than you need. It's a very personal thing. The time to enjoy it, because there are lots of people that have millions of dollars in the bank account, but they're working 90-hour weeks. They make a lot of money. Their cost of living is, they're still living paycheck to paycheck because they have a lot of expenses. So the more money than you need, the time to enjoy it, the freedom to enjoy it with the people that you love. There's a lot of people that have success and they have time, but their families are busy working jobs. They're working jobs. They're paying $50,000, $60,000 a year. So there's a mentorship component to it. There's a financial leadership component to it as well, where you're helping other people make money moves. You're helping other people increase their financial IQ. You're investing into other people. You're helping other people achieve a level of freedom that they wouldn't have been able to achieve on their own, that are close to you, family, friends, like really. And again, you can't want all these things for people, but again, this is my definition. Whether it's family or whether it's your friend group, there's an aspect of financial abundance, whatever that means to you, time freedom, and then people to enjoy that time with. And I think that is really the true definition of living a wealthy life.
I love it, dude. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's awesome. I hope people can take that, be inspired by that, and apply it potentially to their life or recalibrate, potentially how they look at things. Thanks for that, dude. Clearly you've thought about this. I didn't throw you off with that question. So it's good. I love this segment, dude, of burn or bliss, where I'm going to throw a few words at you, a topic, and you say either burn or bless. Obviously, it's like you're a thumbs down, burn, or let's go, bless. So yeah, I'm going to just throw a few things. Usually I have a list, but I know enough now. I could just throw this out to you. Okay, ready. So easy one, AI in business.
Bless.
The current educational system.
Burn. That was easy.
Crypto.
Bless.
Hollywood.
Burn.
And finally, let's see, is a good one. Neuralink.
Burn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any one of those you can expand on. Pick one that you want to jam on for a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, all of them. I mean, AI, it's revolutionary. The people that are staying up to 2 a.m, sacrificing their mental, emotional, physical, and relational well-being are missing the mark. We're talking about it being an exponential curve on an exponential curve. So everything they're learning now is going to be completely irrelevant 12 months from now. That doesn't mean don't lean into it. That does not mean don't understand it. That does not mean don't spend time doing it. Just, you don't need to be a maniac about it. So yes, take the time, put in the 40 hours of work over the next 30, 60, 90 days of just playing, tinkering with, stubbing your toe, skinning your knee figuratively with AI. Like this is the future. It's not going anywhere. And the people that leverage that technology to have a bigger impact are going to be the ones that reap the rewards in the future. What was the second one that you asked me? It was a burn. I mean, I know Hollywood, that was an easy one. I just, a long time ago, I had the awareness. I learned this at a personal development event. I noticed it. It took me a year or two to really take it to heart. Your attention, your emotions are so valuable. And television and films are meant to put you on an emotional roller coaster to get you to come back to watch the next episode. And when you realize the power of something that you're giving your time, energy, and attention to, designed to alter your state of consciousness, to alter your emotional state, you just can't subject yourself to that. There's a lot of, now it's documented fact that the CIA is involved in Hollywood, that there is subconscious programming happening. There are lots of...
From the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning, exactly. There's a lot of foreign money and finances owning these production studios. And this is not conspiracy theory. These are documented facts. And so when you know the power of your emotional state, and even just you have days where you're off and you have days that you're on. When you're watching something that puts you in a little bit of fear or puts you in a little bit of doubt or makes you not sleep a little bit better that night just because you were watching something exciting
or scary.
Yeah, it's scary. Like it that impacts your next day, which impacts your week, and it just extends timelines in your life. So there is a time and a place for entertainment. You need to subject yourself to it with discernment, and you need to understand what's happening in front of you so you can keep it in front of you. Another bless was crypto. Again, crypto, our financial system is broken. It's going to shift. It's going to adapt. The US dollar is an experiment that has lasted a very long time. I'm not suggesting that it's going away, but it might shift in shape and form. And again, crypto, like AI, is the future. Is it 10 months out? Is it 10 years out? Is it 50 years out? I don't know. But again, that's another thing to, again, don't be a maniac about, but take time to learn about. There's another burn that the education system. That's what it was. Yeah, again, exponential teachers are a blessing in life. It's just an outdated system. The exponential growth that we're experiencing, the system's been outdated for decades, and it's just outdated. People are much better off spending money under mentorship and tutelage, or joining a network of experienced entrepreneurs, spending that money sustaining your lifestyle for a few years, working for free intern, than getting an outdated education. So yeah, it's that one was a little bit of a tough one to speak badly against, because I know there's so many good people in the education system. But it's outdated. Things are moving too fast for that system to shift and adapt.
Yeah, for sure. As with any sort of government institution, to make change and to institute change is, it's a gigantic freighter of a ship, and to turn that wheel, 2 degrees to the left or right, takes a long time.
Yeah, and it needs to go 180. Like 2 or 3 degrees is challenging. And
imagine the 180. Okay, we'll see you in 1,000 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You may as well just dismantle it and rebuild it. But yeah, for sure. We made that conscious choice to homeschool because we saw the writing on the wall. But yeah, that's another conversation, another time. Maybe when I fly into Scottsdale to jam with you guys at some point. But yeah, I appreciate this. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for sharing so much of your wealth and wisdom. What's the best way for people to reach out and potentially do some work with you?
Yeah, the easiest way to get a hold of me is on Instagram at Michael R. Hunter. You can go to michaelrhunter.com to see the other cool things I'm up to with my podcast, personal brand, Spiffy, and also personalbrand.com. You can see our portfolio of work, learn about our live event. And yeah, Eric, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was fun to jam on this and talk a little bit more about the faith side than the business side. For anybody building a personal brand, definitely follow some of my content on Instagram, and don't hesitate to reach out with questions in the DMs. I'm accessible.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. And talk to you soon.